What could be wrong with a nice appletini or mojito on a Friday night? Here's why ordering those drinks and a few others could potentially ruin your bartender's night. The whiskey sour just isn't the best drink to mix with high-end whiskeys, like Crown Royal. According to bartenders, it's on account of the sweetness of the drink, and it's something you should absolutely avoid. In fact, longtime bartender Tommy Stanley told the Chattanooga Times Free Press in 2017 they're usually drunk by rookies. So a whiskey sour is the type of cocktail bartenders sometimes look down on as a result. Not that we ever would, of course. Now, clearly, bartenders aren't begging customers to stop ordering whiskey sours because the drink is hard to make. After all, the cocktail is often nothing more than a combination of whiskey and sour mix. But therein lies the issue. If a person is ordering a whiskey sour with an expensive, high-quality whiskey, it's a sign that person might not be making the most informed choices. Of course, a bartender will always make you a whiskey sour, even one made with a $1,600 bottle of Macallan single malt scotch. But considering the vast number of whiskey-based drinks to choose from, unless the whiskey sour is your absolute favorite, you might be better served branching out a bit. Unless you've been personally tasked with muddling an item, as in gently crushing a fruit or herb to use in a cocktail, you may not realize how enormously irritating the process can be. The need to muddle fresh mint leaves is the main reason why bartenders can hate mojitos. In fact, if a bartender is too strapped for time or just doesn't feel like making a mojito, they may tell a patron the bar's run out of fresh mint to avoid preparing the cocktail. Then again, this may be more of an urban legend than a real-life practice. Still, if you're looking to keep a bartender from getting frustrated with you, just make your own mojito at home. If not, be sure to tip well enough that it makes up for the extra work. Some drinks just have a slightly embarrassing reputation, and no cocktail may be more likely to draw a raised eyebrow or two than the appletini. Frankly, it's possible that your bartender will be displeased if you order the unnatural martini. As Patrick Williams, the beverage director for Punch Bowl Social, told Thrillist, the biggest problem bartenders have with the appletini is that it's not exactly considered a real martini. In that sense, since the apple flavor overwhelms the liquor in an appletini, purist bartenders may prefer a customer who orders a more spirit-forward martini. Obviously, you should never say never, but at the same time, we can confidently say most bartenders prefer you never ask for an appletini. You'll get the drink if you order it, that's for sure, but anyone eager to earn a bartender's respect will want to stop ordering this sour apple cocktail, now and in the future. In 2023, any person who doesn't love the Dude and the Big Lebowski sets off alarm bells.
I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the Dude. So that's what you call me, you know?
In that vein, there's nothing wrong with a person wanting to mimic the Dude and his favorite beverage, the White Russian. But milk and cream aren't exactly known for staying fresh over long periods of time. The biggest reason you should never order a White Russian is there's no guarantee the milk or cream will be super fresh. Unless you're ordering from a top-notch bar, there's no way to completely avoid the chance you'll ingest spoiled dairy in the process. Additionally, according to commenters on Reddit, some bartenders may be irritated by the prospect of retaining fresh milk or cream when a White Russian is ordered so infrequently. Since the profit margins for restaurants are often razor-thin, any sunk cost on rarely used ingredients can take a toll. So if you're unsure how often a bar is slinging White Russians, do yourself a solid and order something else. Or don't, but you can't say we didn't warn you ahead of time. Other than the mimosa, it's hard to imagine an alcoholic beverage that better embodies the spirit of brunch like a Bloody Mary. Sure, the idea of a vodka and V8 mixture isn't exactly appetizing to everyone, but it's crystal clear the drink is widely popular among late-morning, early-afternoon drinkers. Of course, its status as maybe the quintessential brunch cocktail is precisely why bartenders tend to dislike it when it's ordered after brunch hours. Now, beyond the logistical challenges found in making a cocktail outside of the expected time frame, a Bloody Mary tends to be fairly diverse in how it's prepared by a bartender. After all, as one professional bartender noted on Reddit, do you want what is effectively cold tomato soup or vodka-flavored hot sauce? To ice or not to ice? Do you want a weird pepper rim? Are you going to cry when we don't have celery sticks? Obviously, if it's near midnight and you simply must order a Bloody Mary, you're free to do so. But if you want to ensure everyone is happy with your cocktail, go with something else after 2 p.m. Sugar-heavy cocktails are unlikely to top any bartender's list of favorite drinks, and the lemon drop is no exception. Now, it's certainly possible to pull off a decent version of this cocktail, but the fact that it's essentially a sweet, boozy lemonade diminishes some bartenders' enthusiasm for the cocktail. According to Punchbowl Social's Patrick Williams, a lot of bartenders aren't fans of lemon drops because it's the favorite drink for those who don't go out much. In other words, the drink is sweet enough to go down easy for the uninitiated, but far too saccharine to be considered worthwhile to a more evolved palate. More than that, though, is that many customers are under the assumption that every bar can make a lemon drop, regardless of whether it's listed on the menu. Of course, while some might assume that any bartender is capable of crafting any cocktail imaginable, the reality is that not every bar is equipped with what's needed. So unless you're confident the bar in question has what's available, don't order a lemon drop. Your bartender will thank you.
No! No! No, no, no! Thank you.
Not everyone can understand the appeal of a dirty martini. Maybe they can't quite grasp the culinary allure of olives, so a drink flavored with them isn't going to be their cup of tea. It isn't just bar patrons who feel this way. Some bartenders share their point of view. They feel a customer ordering a dirty martini would be better served drinking straight olive juice. According to Bartender Atlas, the #1 problem bartenders have with dirty martinis is the inclusion of olive brine alongside the main liquor and vermouth. After all, it's virtually impossible for the liquor to shine through when the accompanying mixer completely overwhelms the rest of the ingredients. Now, if you're a bona fide superfan of all things olives, that may be precisely why you enjoy dirty martinis in the first place. And to be sure, there's nothing wrong with a person who greatly enjoys that flavor profile. But if you're hoping to stay on your bartender's good side, stick with an order that highlights the alcohol rather than masks it. We certainly understand the appeal of a nice frozen cocktail, particularly when the thermostat creeps up during the spring and summer. Whether it's a frozen margarita with salt on the rim or a strawberry daiquiri garnished with fresh fruit and some sugar, there's a lot to love about an icy booze-filled beverage. Of course, if you're craving a frozen drink but the bartender is pressed for time, maybe do them a favor and skip any frozen or blended choices. The main issue with frozen drinks from a bartender's perspective is how tedious and time-consuming they are to prepare. After all, it's not just the preparation part that takes up precious time, but the need to clean a blender between beverages as well. Now, will a bartender make you a frozen drink even if the bar is stacked 2 or 3 customers deep? Absolutely. But there are certain times you should simply avoid ordering a frozen cocktail, no matter how eager you are to consume one. So unless the bar is slow and your bartender clearly has the time and resources available to them, you might want to pivot to a quicker option. If you can stomach a couple nasty looks, be our guest.
Don't give me that look.
What look?
That one.
Look, we here at Mashed like piña coladas, though we're less fond of getting caught in the rain. But just because we enjoy the classic pop song doesn't mean bartenders are enthused when you order a piña colada. For one thing, a bartender may take issue with a piña colada because it's far from simple to prepare. Given the number of steps involved, making a piña colada is actually pretty tough compared to most drinks. In other words, making the cocktail is, as an expert from the American Bartender School told The Independent, a pain in the butt. Furthermore, unless a bar is known to have fresh coconut and pineapple on hand, it's not worth your time and money to order a piña colada. In fact, some say the only right time to order a piña colada may be on a beach, and bonus points if it's out of a coconut. You may have to make a special trip for just that kind of arrangement. When someone starts their drinking journey, there's a good chance that they prioritize getting drunk fast, cheap, and easy. Hey, we've all been there, and in that sense, the appeal of a Long Island iced tea is easy to understand. It'll get you hammered in no time while deceiving your taste buds in the process. Of course, unless you're out for your first legal drink and the bar is slow, many bartenders would prefer you order just about anything but a Long Island iced tea. Frankly, bartenders hate making the drink because of how labor-intensive it is to prepare. With an ingredient list featuring 5 different alcohols, a Long Island iced tea isn't exactly akin to filling a glass with whatever beer is on tap. Additionally, bartenders may wish you stop ordering Long Island iced teas because, well, they just don't think they're very palatable. After all, the drink was created during the Prohibition era with the goal of disguising the taste of the alcohol. In other words, it's not a beverage meant for a fun, casual night out, it's designed for stealth drinking. Maybe you're not worried about how sophisticated you seem to a bartender or about using their time. But if you're eager to get a bartender's approval, steer clear of ordering a Long Island iced tea. Maybe go with something a little easier to make, like a vodka tonic or a martini. Some cocktails are reviled by bartenders because they look down on the drink itself, while others create unnecessary headaches by requiring a ton of labor. Of course, when the ingredients themselves are just too difficult to keep handy, it doesn't help matters, and no drink better represents this frustration than the espresso martini. Because how many bars have ready-made espresso available? The general lack of hot, fresh espresso behind a bar plays a major role in bartenders' displeasure with making these cocktails. But many also wish customers realized how difficult the actual preparation process was. After all, as professional bartender Ella Downs told Grub Street in 2021, the heat of espresso also makes the shake more intense. That intensity increases the likelihood a shaker may burst open during preparation.
Just a drink. A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Additionally, as one bartender commented on Reddit, the cocktails stick to the ice in a weird way. This bartender is not alone on the Reddit thread when it comes to disliking espresso martinis, and it's an opinion you'll find with many in the profession.